Hare Krishna everyone, so we are continuing with Civilization and Transcendence by His Divine Grace Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. And this is Shravanam Diaries podcast. I'm your host Sulalita Devidasi, and we are diving into the second chapter, Progressing Beyond Progress. In quotes, progress. Pushta Krishna. Question number 2. Srila Prabhupada. Yes. Pushta Krishna. The traditional charge against Hinduism is that it is fatalistic, that it inhibits progress by making people slaves to the belief in the inevitability of what is to happen. How far is this charge true? Srila Prabhupada. The charge is false. Those who have made that charge do not know what Hinduism is. First of all, the Vedic scriptures make no mention of such a thing as Hinduism, but they do mention Sanatana Dharma, the eternal and universal religion, and also Varnashrama Dharma, the natural organization of human society. That we can find in the Vedic scriptures. So, is it a false charge that the Vedic system inhibits the progress of mankind? What is that progress? In quotes, progress. A dog's jumping is progress? Laughter. A dog is running here and there on 4 legs, and you are running on 4 wheels. Is that progress? The Vedic system is this. The human being has a certain amount of energy. Better energy than the animals, better consciousness. And that energy should be utilized for spiritual advancement. So the whole Vedic system is meant for spiritual advancement. Human energy is employed in a more exalted direction than to compete with the dog. Consequently, sometimes those who have no idea of religion notice that the Indian saintly persons are not working hard like dogs. Spiritually uncultured people think the dog race is life, but actual life is spiritual progress. Therefore, the Srimad Bhagavatam 1.5.18 says, Tasyaiva hetor prayate takovido na labhyate yad brahmatam uparyadach talabhyate dukhavad anyata sukham kalina sarvatra gabhiras ramhasa. The human being should exert his energy for that thing which he did not get in many lives. Through many lives, the soul has been in the forms of dogs or demigods or cats or birds or insects. There are 8,400,000 material forms, so this transmigration is going on, but in every one of these millions of forms, the business is sense gratification. The dog is busy for sense gratification. Where is food? Where is shelter? Where is a mate? How to defend? And the man is also doing the same business in different ways. So this struggle for existence is going on, life after life. Even a small insect is engaging in the same struggle. Ahara nidra bhaya maithunam. Eating, sleeping, defending, and mating. Bird, beast, insect, fish everywhere the same struggle. Where is the food? Where is sex? Where is shelter? How to defend? So the Shastra, scripture, says that we have done these things in many past lives, and if we don't get out of the struggle for existence, we'll have to do them again in many future lives. So these things should be stopped. Therefore, Prahlada Maharaj advises his friends in Srimad Bhagavatam 7.6.3. Sukham aindriyakam daitya deha yogena dehinam sarvatra labhyate daivad yatha dukham mayatnataha. Quote, my dear friends, material pleasure, which is due to simply to this material body, is essentially the same in any body. And just as misery comes without our trying for it, so the happiness we deserve will also come by higher arrangement. Unquote. A dog has a material body, and I have a material body. So my sex pleasure and the dog's sex pleasure is the same. Of course, a dog is not afraid of having sex on the street in front of everyone, and we hide it in a nice apartment. That's all. But the activity is the same. There is no difference. Still, people are taking this sex pleasure between a man and a woman in a nice decorated apartment as very advanced. But that is not advanced. And yet, they are making a dog's race for this, in quote, advancement. Prahlada Maharaja says we are imagining that there are different types of pleasure on account of different types of body. But the pleasure is fundamentally the same. Naturally, according to the different types of body, there are some external differences in the pleasure, but the basic amount and quality of this pleasure has very well defined limitations. That is called destiny. A pig has a certain type of body and his edible is stool. That is destined. You cannot change it. Let the pig eat halava. Halava is that a very delicious, like semolina type of sweet, like a pudding. That is not possible. Because the soul has a particular type of body, he must eat a particular type of food. Can anyone, any scientist, improve the standard of living of a pig? Is it possible? Laughter. Therefore, Prahlada Maharaja says that everything about material pleasure is already fixed. The uncivilized man in the jungle are having the same sex pleasure as the so-called civilized man who boast, in quote, instead of living in that hut made of leaves, we are living in a skyscraper building. This is advancement, unquote. But Vedic civilization says, in quote, no, this is not advancement. Real advancement is self-realization. How much you have realized your relationship with God, unquote. Sometimes people misunderstand, thinking that sages who try for self-realization are lazy. In a high court, a judge is sitting soberly, apparently doing nothing, and he's getting the highest salary. And another man in the same court, he's working hard all day long, rubber stamping, and he's getting not even 1/10 of the judge's salary. He's thinking, I'm so busy and working so hard, and yet I'm not getting a good salary. And this man is just sitting on the bench, and he's getting such a fat salary. The criticism of Hinduism as inhibiting progress is like that. It comes out of ignorance. The Vedic civilization is for self-realization. It is meant for the intelligent people, for the intelligent person. The person who will not just work like an ass, but who will try for that thing which he did not achieve in so many other lives, namely, self-realization. For example, we are sometimes labeled escapists. What is that? What is the charge? Disciple. They say we are escaping from reality. Srila Prabhupada. Yes, we are escaping their reality. But their reality is a dog's race. And our reality is to advance in self-realization, Krishna consciousness. That is the difference. Therefore, the mundane, materialistic workers have been described as mudhas, asses. Why? Because the ass works very hard for no tangible gain. He carries on his back, tons of clothes for the washerman, and the washerman in return gives him a little morsel of grass. Then the ass stands at the washerman's door eating the grass, while the washerman loads him up again. The ass has no sense to think, if I get out of the clutches of this washerman, I can get grass anywhere. Why am I carrying so much? The mundane workers are like that. They're busy at the office, very busy. If you want to see the fellow, I'm very busy now. Laughter. So what is the result of your being so busy? Well, I take 2 pieces of toast and 1 cup of tea, that's all. Laughter. Yeah, it's funny how the irony of it. It's funny and sad at the same time, really. And for this purpose, you are so busy? Or he's busy all day simply so that in the evening he can look at his account books and say, oh, the balance has been $1,000, now it has become $2,000. That is the satisfaction. That is his satisfaction. But still, we have the same 2 pieces of bread and 1 cup of tea, even though he has increased his balance from 1,000 to 2,000. And still, he'll work hard. This is why karmis are called mudhas. They work like asses without any real aim of life. Nowadays, it's also people, they post these memes of how they work 8-9 hours a day in front of computer at work to be able to sit for another 8 hours or how many hours at home at the computer under the roof. And I know how frustrated at least millennials, zillennials are also getting there, but mostly millennials, of course. It is a completely messed up present situation in the world, and what Srila Prabhupada describes back in 70s, what was going on in 60s and 70s, and people are looking back and saying, how did they afford houses? Big, huge houses people could afford, and nowadays more and more people are frustrated over so many different bills and so many different even medical bills nowadays. It's really the whole system is completely messed up. So it's not progress, definitely, for sure. But Vedic civilization is different. The accusation implied in the question is not correct. In the Vedic system, people are not lazy. They are very busy working for a higher purpose. Higher purpose! And that busyness is so important that Prahlada Maharaja says, Kaumara charit pragyo. Beginning from childhood, one should work for self-realization. One should not lose a second's time. So that is Vedic civilization. 1 minute, 1 second. Of course, the materialistic workers, they see these men are not working like us, like dogs and asses. So they are escaping. Yes, escaping your fruitless endeavor. Escaping your fruitless endeavor. The Vedic civilization of self-realization begins from the Varnashrama system of social organization. Varnashrama charavata purushana parah puman vishnur aradyate. Quote, everyone should offer up the fruits of his occupational duty to the lotus feet of the Lord Vishnu or Krishna. That is why the Vedic system is called Varnashrama, literally, social organization with a spiritual perspective. The Varnashrama system has 4 social and 4 spiritual divisions. The social divisions are the Brahmanas, teachers and priests, Kshatriyas, administrators and military men, Vaishyas, farmers and merchants, and Shudras, laborers and craftsmen. While the spiritual divisions are the Brahmacharis, students, Grihasthas, householders, Vanaprasthas, retirees, and Sannyasis, renunciates. But the ultimate goal is Vishnur Aradyate, the worship of the Supreme Lord Vishnu by all. That is the idea. That is the idea. But the members of the modern so-called civilization do not know of Varnashrama. They have created, therefore, a society that is simply a dog's race. The dog is running on 4 legs and they are running on 4 wheels, and that's all. And they think the 4-wheel race is advancement of civilization. Vedic civilization is different. As Narada Muni says, Tasyaiva hetor prayateta kovidona labhyateyah brahmatam uparyadah. The learned, astute person will use this life to gain what he has missed in countless prior lives, namely realization of self and realization of God. Someone may ask, then shall we do nothing? Yes, do nothing simply to improve your material position. Whatever material happiness is allotted for you by destiny, you'll get it wherever you are. Take to Krishna consciousness. You'll get these other things besides. How shall I get them? How? Kalena sarvatra gambhira ramhasa. By the arrangement of eternal time, everything will come about in due course. The example is given that even though you do not want distress, still distress comes upon you. Similarly, even if you do not work hard for the happiness that is destined to be yours, still it will come. Similarly, Prahlada Maharaj says, natat prayasa kartavyam. You should not waste your energy for material happiness, because you cannot get more than what you are destined to have. That is not possible. How can I believe it? That by working hard I will not get more material happiness than I would otherwise have had. Because you are undergoing so many distressing conditions even though you do not want them. Who wants distress? For example, in our country, Mahatma Gandhi was killed by his own countryman. He was a great man. He was protected by so many followers. He was beloved by all, and still he was killed. Destiny. Who can protect you from all these distressing conditions? So, you should conclude, if these distressing conditions come upon me by force, the other kind of condition, the opposite number, will also come. Therefore, why shall I waste my time trying to avoid distress and gain so-called happiness? Let me utilize my energy for Krishna consciousness. That is intelligence. You cannot check your destiny. The magazine's question touches on this point. Pushta Krishna. Yes, the usual charge is that this Vedic system of civilization is fatalistic, and that as a result people are not making as much material progress as they otherwise would. Srila Prabhupada. No, the Vedic system is not fatalistic. It is fatalistic only in the sense that one's material destiny cannot be changed. But your spiritual life is in your hands. Our point is this. The whole Vedic civilization is based on the understanding that destiny allows only a certain amount of material happiness in this world, and that our efforts should therefore be directed toward self-realization. Nobody is enjoying uninterrupted material happiness. That is not possible. A certain amount of material happiness and a certain amount of material distress. These both must be present always. Just as you cannot check your distressing condition of life, similarly you cannot check your happy condition of life. It will come automatically. Therefore, don't waste your time with these things. Better you utilize your energy for advancing in Krishna consciousness. Jai, so we're going to stop here for today. It's such a topic, fatalism, this, wrong conception of fatalism in Hinduism or in Sanatana Dharma and Vaishnava philosophy. It's really, really nicely Srila Prabhupada just puts everything in proper order and explains it. I am recording it for fourth time already. I wanted to say a few words about this point that Srila Prabhupada was expressing. I was trying to say that, to kind of tell you that it doesn't mean that, we don't need to take bath, wake up, and we can just lie in bed day and night and expect that everything will come on its own accord. No, that's tamaguna, that's mode of ignorance. I'll just say that if you have more questions, if you have more questions in this regard, just listen to the previous books we've read and wait until we start reading Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. There are more details to this topic, but this is the truth, what we were reading today, for sure. So any questions and doubts that you have, they're all explainable, absolutely explainable. And maybe later on in the same book it will be explained for sure. So thank you so much again. if I didn't thank you before, for tuning in. The link to this book is in the description. And we shall see you tomorrow. Hare Krishna. Stay safe, stay well, and Hare Krishna.